make mistakes a few times and you get back up and you try again.
People refusing to evolve, man, like
Yes.
or forgetting that part of evolution, right?
Yes.
That is part of the human race, human history. Make sure to subscribe and like our podcast. Whew. How is your day, King?
I mean, every day is a blessing, man, when you can wake up, breathe life into your lungs, and you have another opportunity to better yourself, right? And
Yes.
Both you and I we're on a journey, and we're capturing our dreams.
Yes.
So like every day is purposeful. It's like there's a mission for that day, to like analyze, assess the shortcomings of yesterday and correct them in pursuit of our dreams and the life that we're trying to create for ourselves, our family, and our future.
Yes.
Yeah, man. How about you, King?
For me today was just amazing, like regardless of the situation, right? Where people try to put me in places, expecting me to maybe generate the same type of reaction, right?
Yes.
React to it. And I'm like, that you just did me a favor, so thank you. And actually, yes, and I had the best day of my life.
Yes.
Working towards my goal. So that was, that is my day. And now I'm like, oh man, if today's like this, what is tomorrow going to be like?
Absolutely, exactly,
right?
Exactly. We've had these conversations a lot as we begin to, as we continue to grow individually and collectively. And me, I'm such a technician when I approach things, because as a boy growing into a teen, growing into a young man, I was never taught, right, by a man, right? No disrespect to my guardians and parents or anything like that. I was never taught by a man, right? How do I process my emotions?
Yes,
right?
yes.
I have them. I was just taught, suck them up, right? You're a man, be tough. Like that mushy stuff is for girls, right? Like, so, so how do I express my emotions in a point 2 to point 1? How do I express my emotions in a constructive and healthy way? Right? Because as men, we're calm and cool, collected, and we get super angry and violent, like from one extreme to the next. Like, but what's in the middle, right? Like, there's no middle. It's like, don't cross that line, or if you don't want war, right? Like, so I didn't know how to, I wasn't taught these things. So what is a healthy or relationships, right? Like, I wasn't taught about relationships, and how to have like relationships with like, you can have relationships with opposite sex, you can have relationships with same sex, like that are just friendships. Yes. Right? And that's completely okay. Right? It was like, no, it's a girl. So if it's a girl, it's automatic, has to be like, it gets evaluated on that scale of, am I gonna, have a relationship or something? No, but it doesn't have to be that scale. It could just be, right? And I think that's where because I wasn't educated, I'm just gonna speak from my personal experience, led to me not understanding that I don't have to settle just because someone shows a particular level of interest in me. And I mean settle in the fact that, like, no, this doesn't have to be like that level. It doesn't have to be an intimate thing, right? Or exclusive thing. It could just be, look, man, you're a beautiful female, I'm a handsome male, but it's completely okay for us to be friends without crossing certain threshold, right? That's completely acceptable. Again, but you don't know those things until you kind of grow and you experience, and sometimes you never know those things because no one ever, you never learn those lessons in life. Right, like so I think that even has to do with it too, and then now when I am in an exclusive relationship, like being taught what's my role then too, right? Like, I have a role, right? Like, and how do I choose a partner, right? In a, my counterpart in a relationship. What is my role? What's my expectation of my partner's role? These aren't conversations and things that like I specifically was taught. So it was a lot of trial and error, and you make mistakes a few times and you get back up and you try again. Right? But then for me, I operate off of, like I said, I'm very technical. So I operate off of pattern recognition, and I'm like, wait a minute, I'm repeating these same patterns, and I'm like, okay, so, and So before certain results come, I could already anticipate it, like, here we go. Boom. These results are coming, so that's to the point where I grew and I learned that, okay, all right, man, like, number one, get educated on all these subjects that I just aforementioned, right? As a man, like, how do I do these things, right? What are appropriate? What are constructive? And then once I'm educated on them, now I can start, like, putting them into practice.
Every single day, you know. I mean, we kind of have, like, some similarities, same thing back in Nigeria, right? Like, how to be a man, right? We just assume a lot of this stuff, right? We just assume a lot of the responsibilities, a lot of the roles, just because we've seen someone do it, our parents or, our brothers, uncles, any male figure in our life, right? Just because we've seen them do it, I mean, that was the same for me, because, I mean, up until I came to America, I started to figure out a lot of stuff for myself, man. And like you said, it was all try and error, right? Try and error. It was like, okay, love. Okay, because this person, expressed this amount of love, like, okay, I'm bounded, I'm obligated to, reciprocate that kind of, love on a different level. Instead, what you say could just be, hey man, friendship, same sex, opposite sex doesn't matter, but just friendship, and all those healthy relationships, right? Because this is really, really important, man. Because when you start to look at, like, families now or whatnot, right? Like, oh wow, okay, what? Because that unhealthy stuff, man, and you stay together, it leads to sort of like unhealthy home, unhealthy family, a lot of stuff now it just becomes a generational stuff.
That's right.
Part of the conversations we had is like, when you look at the generation, my parents, my grandparents, like, they didn't know any of this stuff better, or maybe they did, but at some point there was something that was lost and missing, right? So it's like, okay, now it's like, okay, reconnecting that bridge of, okay, man, role, teachings, showing the proper way and everything, changing the whole dynamics itself.
Yes, and there is a part of life, a huge part of life, that most people, a lot of people tend to neglect, and fail to pay attention to. Evolution, man.
Wow.
Life changes, life evolves, like, things change, right? And to think that we're going to, and I'm not knocking tradition, right? Tradition is very important because it gives you a baseline and an understanding, like, where to plant your roots and where you can stand.
Yes.
But once upon a time, right, like, electricity didn't exist. So you had to light the campfire. But you can't say let's resort to lighting a campfire when you can just go flick a switch. Right.
Yes.
So I'm oversimplifying it because I want to really illustrate that through certain cultural practices and from one generation to the next, we got to recognize that the world that I grew up in and that I was born in, the world that I was born in, is not even the same world that I live in right now. Like, it's we've evolved, and we've whether you want to knock evolution or not, like, you can't knock what is. Like, you have to, like, find a way to adapt, adjust, and then and fit that world, that dimension, right? I'm not telling you to compromise your values or your morals, but you got to recognize that it's no longer the same world and same society, and I have to adjust, right? I have to adapt, adjust, and I have to fit, right? I have to fit, the world that I currently live in, and it's not what my son is going to have to live in, right? It's different. The music that I listen to, it's not the music that he listened to. The things that I liked is not the things that he liked. But I'm obligated, though, from father to son. I need to teach him the concepts and the principles, right? All of these things, so that he can now, like, okay, I got concepts, I got principles, right? I got morals, I got ethics. Now let me apply what I know into my own world, right? That way I can still get, because the goal is to get positive and constructive results, because that's the goal. Not the same results that I got, right? Like, is to get positive and constructive results. That's what I want you to have. You're going to have to do it your way, because as much as it's crazy, like the team master even said one time, he said, the only time a child belongs to you, right? Belongs to the mother, is when it's in the womb. Because once it comes out and that umbilical cord is cut, it belongs to the world. Right? So so it's like, man, I may, want, like, you're my child, so you're going to do what I want and what my expectations of you. I got to recognize, just like when my parents wanted me to, hey, you will do this, you will walk this way, talk this way. I don't think that's going to actually quite work for the world that I live in. Right? Our paradigms are completely different. Right? Because I'm explaining to them, like, this is what I see when I go outside. They're like, well, we don't see that. I said, yeah, because you're a 40-year-old man, and you're mid-30s. Like, so you're not going to see what I see, because you're not looking at the world the same way I am. So I have to recognize that. But that's why, like, passing on certain, concepts and principles, and morals and ethics and values, like that's 100%. Now it's up to the recipient. Now I got those things, and once they take them and they say, okay, all right, here's how I can use them to apply in the current world that I live in, and the environment and the society I live in, without compromising who I am, right? Like, and went from where I came, right? So that's where again, I believe, because I was, when I had a conversation with, like, my dad, like, he told me, like, look, that's how my dad was with me. So that's what I knew. Right. And I was like, oh, okay, I get it. I can't fault him for that. Like, you can't teach what you don't know. Right. But, so I recognize, though, like, I can't continue that, pattern and that trend. And I'm not going to look down on the generation before me either and say, well, man, how could you, right? Like, I take ownership now, right? Because I'm no longer defenseless, or helpless. Babies are helpless, right? At a certain point, as a boy or young girl, like, you're helpless, right? Like, you still need assistance to survive. But after a certain age, like, you stand on my own too, your own, right? And family, my mind can work and it can function. At that point, now I have to start making my own choices and decisions, and say, like, this life that I was given is a gift. How do I choose to live this life? What are my pursuits? What are my desires? Like, how am I going to express myself? Right? And obviously, like, I'm not going to do anything. I will not personally do anything that will bring, shame from those that carry this torch to, like, get me here. But I think the understanding that needs to exist is that I have to, like, this my leg of the race, like, I'm gonna have to learn to run this on my own. Right? I'm gonna have to learn it meaning of my own fashion, and my own creation, right? So
no, man, that is, man. That is beautiful, man. It just changed a whole, perspective for me, man. The people refusing to evolve, man, like, or forgetting that part of evolution, right? That is part of the human race, human history, man. I mean, even 2020 is different from 2022. 2019, way different from 2022, right?
Yes.
Evolution every day, man. I mean, we didn't have 10 years ago self-driving cars. We didn't have them today. We do, you know. Like, just the environment around you keep changing. So why should we adapt the same style of parenting from 50 years ago and adapt that, today, thinking it's gonna work? Wow. Make sure to subscribe and like our podcast.